Hey, beautiful people. It is your girl, Madam J, and y'all, let's get into hair porosity today, okay? So I'm just gonna go straight right into it. So what is hair porosity? Your hair porosity is your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture. This is broken down into three different types. So you can have low porosity, meaning that your cuticles are closer together. It could be medium or normal porosity, meaning that your cuticles are less tightly bound than low porosity, or it could be high porosity, meaning that your cuticles are more spaced apart. So I know that hair porosity is like this big buzzword for natural hair. So let me get into what causes your hair's porosity. So in some cases, your genetics can play a role in your hair porosity, but in a lot of cases, okay, manipulation can alter your hair porosity. Too much manipulation, such as bleaching your hair, dyeing your hair, straightening your hair, blow drying your hair, all of these things, wearing these high tension styles, all of these things can affect your hair's porosity. A lot of things can affect it, and in most cases, so before I get to the next part, y'all, I have been high porosity and I have been low porosity. If you've been following me and watching my videos for a while, probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was high porosity. But ever since I chopped off the rest of my last color, I am now low porosity. Even though I got it colored again back in October, I am back low porosity. Y'all, I hate to say this, but this is what I've learned from my natural hairstylist, that low porosity is actually the healthiest state of your hair. And I know that can be frustrating for some folks because they have, some frustrations with having low porosity hair. But let me get into low porosity versus high porosity. So colored or bleached hair is actually naturally more porous. Hair dye breaks down the proteins in your hair and can make it more susceptible to damage. So if you're going to get your hair colored, make sure you watch all of my natural hair tips. This is my fourth hair color, y'all. And as you see, okay, the hair is giving, the hair is healthy, okay? And you know what? I'm past wash day, but baby, it's really giving, okay? So I really need you to pay attention to my natural hair tips so that you can take care of your natural hair. If you are coloring your hair, bleaching your hair, y'all, please go back and watch my Olaplex videos. I'm telling you, Olaplex is not one of those ones to be played with, okay? It is going to keep your natural hair intact as long as you're consistent and you're taking care of your hair. If you are coloring your hair, this is a commitment, okay? If you want healthy, natural hair. So if this is something you want to do, baby, I really need you to commit to taking care of your hair so it can maintain its health and so you don't experience extreme breakage. So let's get into 3 methods to test your hair's porosity. The first one is the water test, which you've probably seen on a lot of, different social media platforms, but it is very simple. So what you'll do is you'll take a clean piece of hair, make sure it doesn't have any buildup. This is great for doing after your wash day. You want to fill a glass with water, take a strand of your hair and put it into the glass. Let that sit for a few minutes. If it floats at the top, it's low porosity. If it's somewhere in the middle, it's like medium, normal porosity. If it sinks to the bottom, it's high porosity, okay? So that's the first one. Let's get into the second test, which is the strand test. This method is super simple. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers and run it down a strand of your hair, just one strand. And I want you to feel how your cuticles feel. If it's more smooth, it's going to be low porosity. If it's more rough and bumpy, it's going to be high porosity because the cuticles are more open. Very simple things to do. Now, without doing either of those tests, let me tell you some characteristics that can help you determine what porosity your hair is. So for one, like I said, I'm now low porosity. So what I have noticed with low porosity hair is low porosity hair loves heat, okay? Loves heat, baby. Loves steam, all of those things. Because what happens is if you apply heat to low porosity hair, it's going to help open the cuticles so that your products can fully penetrate into your hair. You might notice if you have low porosity hair that it takes a long time for your hair to get wet before you shampoo it, okay? Like water bill is running up, okay? So if it takes a long time for your hair to get wet or a long time for it to dry, you could have low porosity hair. Make sure you are deep conditioning with heat if you have low porosity hair. steaming, invest in a steamer, okay? Because you're going to need that so that your hair gets fully nourished and moisturized. Something about high porosity hair is you actually need cooler or cool water to really help close the cuticles. Instead of opening them up, you want to close them a bit so that the products can hold, so that they can stay and not fall out after you put it on. You might notice with high porosity hair, your hair gets wet very quickly and it dries very quickly. So that can have pros and cons, okay? If you're trying to style your hair and your hair is fully dry in 2 seconds, you're gonna have to keep rehydrating it to help your styling products really penetrate and mix in. So high porosity hair, you want to use cooler water to really help the cuticles seal in all of that moisture and all the good things in your products. With high porosity hair, you might notice more breakage, more shedding. Your hair might tangle more easily. There's just so many factors. High porosity hair allows products to be able to absorb very quickly. However, it is very hard for it to retain that moisture. So you might experience drier hair. So you want to make sure you're really taking time for your wash day routine to help introduce that hydration and that moisture into your hair. With low porosity hair, it's very important that you incorporate clarifying shampoos into your hair, and that's because you can be more susceptible to product buildup. So I definitely recommend adding a clarifying shampoo 1 to 2 times a month, depending on what your hair needs. Really just pay attention to what your hair needs in that moment and give it what it desires. So 1 to 2 times a month, use a clarifying shampoo and follow up with a moisturizing shampoo. Something that's really great for low porosity hair is a Prepoo. If you have low porosity hair, it can be hard for the water to really saturate when you're going to do your wash day routine. So Prepoo can help really open up those cuticles by already giving it that extra hydration before you even hit the shower or the sink, however you wash your hair. Prepoo. I really love the Pattern Beauty Detangling Nectar. This is one of my faves, y'all. And I just stocked up another bottle because I cannot go without that. Like, it really helps me so much. So Prepoo, low porosity hair, you can get a steamer. You can get a deep conditioning cap that you can use with your deep conditioner to really help the moisture seal in. With high porosity hair, you will actually be able to feel that your hair feels more soft when you use the cool water. With low porosity hair, you're gonna notice that your hair feels more soft with the warm water. For high porosity hair, you're going to be more likely to need deep conditioners or protein treatments to really help reduce the breakage and the frizziness and the dryness that your hair will experience. So you're probably wondering why this is important. So you want to make sure you still have a consistent routine regardless of your hair porosity or anything like that. But I do think knowing your hair porosity can help you determine what types of products you want to use and what you want your wash day routine to look like. So low porosity, you want to use warmer water. You want to use more lightweight products that can actually penetrate, because if you use heavier products, it's just going to sit on top of your hair, okay? High porosity, you want to use heavier products so that it can fully penetrate the hair shaft. So those are 2 different things that you want to think about depending on your hair porosity. Like I mentioned before, low porosity, you want to use warmer water to help open up the cuticles. And high porosity, you want to use cooler water to close up the cuticles. Some of my last takeaways for having healthy natural hair is to make sure that you stay up to date with your quarterly trims. Your quarterly trims are so important to the health of your hair, because if not, you're going to experience more breakage because you're detangling and you're styling and your brush and your ends are fighting for dear life. Okay, so honey, get into those trims, find you a really good stylist and get on a routine, get on a schedule so that you can stay on top of your trims. Make sure you're washing your hair weekly, okay? Weekly, okay? Your hair needs hydration. So if you're going 2-3 weeks without washing your hair is going to feel really dry because it hasn't had any water on it, okay? Wash weekly, okay? Follow the water temperature based on your porosity. Find products that fit your porosity, okay? A lot of brands have products for both porosities. You don't have to complicate it too much, but just make sure you follow that kind of guideline of lightweight for low porosity and more heavier for high porosity. So I hope this video was helpful in helping you determine your hair's porosity and will give you some type of routine to move forward for healthy hair for your type of hair porosity. So thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for more Madam J tutorials.